Okay, so types of malware. So what is malware? I think a lot of people probably know what it is, but just to go through it again, malware is short for malicious software and is usually used as an umbrella term. So malicious software and code delivered mostly through the internet, but also there could be physical versions, like maybe someone stuck a USB into your computer and then the malware from the USB infects your computer. It infects, explores, and steals or conducts virtually any behavior an attacker wants. So as anything that works on a computer, it is programmable. And then, so that makes it very flexible to what the attacker wants and how it gets in there. And then there's many ways to get malware into your system. So like I mentioned before, since it's something programmable, obviously there's going to be, maybe it's a backdoor, maybe it's a keylogger, and we'll get into these things later on. So the objectives of malware is many things. So it's usually to gain control for a third party or the hacker in that case, the one behind the malware, to gain control of either your machine, some information, or anything like that. So it provides a remote control for an attacker to use in infected machines, and it sends spam from the infected machine to unsuspecting targets. Yeah, so there's like a lot of different objectives. I think I listed here some objectives, and they're not specific to any program itself. And it can, the most important one is that it can steal sensitive data. So let's move on. We're gonna go through types of malware now. So let's see. Do you hear the sound? Or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let me share it again.
We hear about them in the news almost weekly these days. But what is a computer virus anyway? The definition of a computer virus is a malicious piece of software or malware that once inside your computer replicates and infects other computers in your network, stealing passwords or data, logging keystrokes, corrupting files, spamming your contacts, or even taking over your machine. Like a cold that you just can't shake, computer viruses are definitely something you want to avoid. Find out how to protect against them.
Okay, that's an ad, the last part. Okay, the last part is more of an ad. But basically what you need to know is that malware spreads through human activity. So this is not the malware itself trying to search for other...
Wait, Monica, I think you're echoing again.
Oh. Okay, this always happens for when I screen share with audio. So malware that spreads through specifically human activity, so maybe clicking on a link or downloading a file, is called a virus. It's part of the umbrella term that is a piece of malware right here. And then, but this one specifically is just through human activity, whether it's you click on a link or whether you download a file. It's also a little bit of an umbrella term too. I think in these definitions, a lot of times it's more of like a checklist, if that makes sense. So if you see a piece of malware, then you can probably think, oh, is it a virus? Is it this? Does it fall under these categories, basically? And I think virus is another term. So there can be many different types of viruses, essentially. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the worm. So this is kind of same coin, opposite sides of piece of malware, where this is, instead of a virus, which is spread through human activity, it's spread through on its own, especially through a network. And it's also an umbrella term, but not to be confused with virus is the main thing. They're basically self-replicating viruses that exploit security vulnerabilities. So it automatically spreads themselves across computers and across networks. And unlike a lot of viruses, malware worms don't attach to like pre-existing programs or alter files. They usually just go unnoticed until the replication is just like it's replicated itself so many times that it consumes a really significant part of a system's bandwidth, like network bandwidth, that you have to do something about it, and it is noticeable. So this is ransomware. I think I mentioned it before in the past, but I think last session if you were there, but ransomware is malware that prevents unauthorized access until money is paid. And it's probably been more popular as of late. At least personally for me, I've seen it much more in the news. If you've heard of like a hospital getting shut down or losing tens of thousands of dollars of information because of ransomware, I know that I saw that headline, I think a couple years ago, and it was really like, whoa, scared me a little. But it's basically a criminal business model that uses really malicious software to hold valuable files, data, or information. So this is mostly after more like money, right? Victims of ransomware may have their operations really severely degraded or shut down entirely because they can't even access or touch these files or critical information or programs until they pay out the money. So instead of influencing people, like individual people, this ransomware still does, but the main goal of ransomware is for money. So that's why they usually target systems or organizations where information is a really important part of their business. Okay, bots and botnet. So they're kind of related, so that's why I put them on the same slide. But malware bots and internet bots can be programmed or hacked to break into user accounts, scan the internet for contact information to send spam or perform more other harmful acts. And as the bullet point says, computers that are infected by malware and remotely controlled. And a botnet, which is kind of related to bots, is a collection of computers. So a collection of these kind of bots that are infected by malware and remotely controlled so they can act together at the same time. So usually there's one bigger figure, grandmaster, controlling this whole organization of bots. So to carry out these attacks and disguise the source of the attack traffic, attackers usually distribute bad bots in a botnet or a bot network. And what a botnet is basically just a number of internet connected devices, each running one or more bots, often without like the owners of the devices knowing, right? Because each device has their own IP address. Botnet, the traffic of botnet comes from a lot of numerous IP addresses, and they all look legit, right? Because they're all devices that people use, but people just don't know that their phones are being used for this, making it really much harder to identify and block the source of the traffic. Botnets are also can also grow themselves by using devices to send out spam emails, which can infect more machines. So once again, this idea, so this would, so botnets growing themselves through emails would fall under the definition of a virus, right? Where it's human spread and you have to individually click on the link. Okay, Keylogger. So malware that records any keys pressed on the keyboard, and it's often used to steal usernames, passwords, and or financial information. And it's a more specific type of malware, so it's not like maybe a virus or a worm, which is kind of, this can be described for a whole bunch of different malwares. Oh. And it's short for keystroke logging. So as the bullet point says, it records every keystroke that you type, and then it's a type of spyware. So malware designed to spy on victims because they can capture everything you type. So keyloggers are one of the most invasive forms of malware, because it doesn't really need to. Oh, okay. So it kind of depends on the program, right? So the one universal thing about a keylogger software is that it logs the keys that you put in, but it's up to the person who created the program, the specific program that you're using, if it records timestamps or not. But usually, I'd assume it usually does. Thank you for asking question. So here's a surprise quiz. Whoa. Okay, so we're gonna do guess that malware, where now that you know the definitions, and I can go back to these if you need them, we're gonna read about a situation and then try to guess what malware it's under. So Ashley has a computer that is infected somehow, but she's not sure. Someone's been logging into her online accounts using her name and her password, but she's never shared it with anyone. What type of malware is infecting Ashley's computer? Yup. Yeah, so this one's Keylogger, right? Because if you haven't told this information to anyone, it's just solely in your head and on this, maybe if it's a game login, then yeah, that could be it too. Except for the screen recorder, usually passwords are dotted out or hashed out. But yeah, both of these, a common answer is the secretly spying on what you do on your computer. So since she's never shared it with anyone else, then it's got to be a keylogger, right? That we just described, because you don't know that this program's on your computer, and then there's no one else that knows about this except for maybe the server that you're trying to log into. Yeah. So number 2, Drew was contacted by his internet service provider and told that his computer is attempting to communicate with other computers on the same network and infect them. What type of malware is infecting Drew's computer? Yeah, this actually, okay, this took me like a second to think. Yeah, but here, I'll wait for more answers then. Yeah, because at first my initial reaction was, oh, it's got to be botnet because other computers are involved, right? But the computer is attempting to communicate with other computers on the network and infect them, which tells me the sign that it's probably a worm, right? Because yeah, because the worm is trying to find other computers and systems by itself without human interaction. Whew. Okay, number 3. When Mr. Jackson got to school this morning, he turned on his computer to check his email. All of his icons were missing, and a message was telling him that if he wanted access to his files, he needed to send money to an internet address. What type of malware is infecting Mr. Jackson's computer? Yep, it's also ransomware, because I think the key sign that something's ransomware is when money is involved. Most other types of malware, at least from what I've read of, also want money. Like, money is an intention, but it's because in crypto, I think it's, yeah, you can safely make anonymous payments in crypto. Yeah, I know that crypto is also used a lot in the black market too, because you can't really trace it down. If you tried, you can't really trace it down. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Michelle's computer seems to have a mind of its own. It comes on at random times, sometimes at night, and it does things without her asking it to. It's almost as if someone else is controlling it. What type of malware is infecting Michelle's computer? Yeah, botnet. I'm not sure, but I think I'd have to do extra research to see if rats do them. But since it's botnet, it could also be bot because it's not, there's nothing specific telling that it's communicating with other computers, but the common kind of factor that ties bots and botnet together is that someone else is telling your computer what to do. So Hiram's friend downloaded the latest game from a free website. It says it works great and even allows special powers to help him win. Hiram's friend made a copy of the game and shared it with him on a thumb drive, but now Hiram's computer is acting odd. What type of malware is affecting Hiram's computer? Okay, so I think this one was a little trickier, right? So I think this one was about botnet, because if you go back earlier in our definition of botnet, a specific thing is that botnets can often grow themselves by using devices to send out spam emails, which can infect more machines. And I think that gave me the sign that, oh, this is more of a virus, since it's humanly downloaded and spread. So then that gave me the impression that it was botnet. Yeah, so it's definitely a virus, right? Because it's all human activity. So it's somewhere around the umbrella of a virus. So here's a little more in depth. So I think it really just goes between the difference between viruses, worms, and Trojans, which Trojans is another thing that is kind of relevant, but I think for this lesson, I mostly focused on viruses and worms, but Trojans is something that you should be aware of. Oh, okay. I gotta volume share.
Viruses, worms, Trojans, and bots are all part of a class of software called malware. The overwhelming majority of malware is created to make money illegally, often by stealing sensitive and confidential information from victims' computers and mobile devices. Malware can also be used for cyber vandalism, cyber espionage, hacktivism, cyber warfare, and various other reasons. Malware can make entry onto your computer via questionable file downloads, visiting infected websites, or through email containing a seemingly benign link or attachment. Common types of malware. Viruses. Almost all viruses are attached to an executable file, which means the virus may exist on a system but will not spread until a user opens the infected program. Viruses often originate on the internet and spread when downloading a file infected with a virus, peer-to-peer file sharing, or email attachment. Trojan. A Trojan is a harmful piece of software that looks legitimate. Users are typically tricked into leading and executing it on their systems. Trojans can not only steal your sensitive data, they can also give cyber crooks access to your system. Trojans are employed to gain access to your computer's financial and personal information. Ransomware. Ransomware holds your PC hostage and demands money. It locks up your computer, threatening to destroy data, demanding ransom or a payment for release of your data, files, or to regain the ability to use your computer again. Spyware. Spyware secretly gathers private information about the user activity, such as internet usage, and logs keystrokes via the process of keylogging to steal passwords and other sensitive data. Worms. Worms can replicate themselves and infect multiple computers on a network, causing major damage. Network worms often use computer networks to spread, slowing down traffic and relying on security failures such as outdated operating systems and no antivirus programs installed. In contrast, viruses require the spreading of an infected host file. Worms are a standalone software and do not require a host or human help to spread. The best way to protect your system from malware is to keep your operating system clean by downloading regular patches, updates, and making sure that your computer is protected by the latest antivirus software from a trusted vendor.
Okay, so that is a quick summary. I think some of them, like Trojan, was the main thing that we didn't talk about. And spyware, I think spyware, they talked about spyware as a group instead of specifically keylogging. But yeah, keylogging is under that spyware kind of umbrella. Here, let me go. Oh, sorry, I was talking about when I was muted. Okay, but let me share my screen. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, but I think that video was good for kind of a basic kind of rehash of everything. Here, let me go back to the video and screen share again. They talked about spyware as a category instead of, I guess, specifically ransomware, which is a good thing to note. So if spyware is kind of the umbrella, or if you've ever seen a Venn diagram, spyware is a circle, and then keylogging and stuff is inside of it. So let's go for it. Okay, so let's start introducing ourselves to PII. So personally identifiable information, or PII, as is any information that permits the identity of an individual to be directly or indirectly inferred. So information such as maybe names, address, birthday, family, credit card information, anything that you don't want to be online, it's probably going to be PII, because we'll talk about the consequences very soon. Yeah. And then let me screen share with sound again. Yeah, but I think school can... I don't know if I'm echoing or not.
Personally identifiable information. What is PII? PII is personally identifiable information that includes a person's name, the names of family or friends, addresses, dates and places of birth, social security numbers, account numbers, and even employee ID numbers. A personal data breach occurs when PII is released to an unauthorized actor through email phishing attacks, ransomware, and even exploiting a victim's digital footprints. A digital footprint could be a potential piece of PII that exists on the internet as a result of a person's online activity, easily harvested and then exploited by a threat actor. Cybercriminals can post ads on the dark web selling one's PII. The identities are then bought by thieves to take part in tax fraud, open fake accounts, to apply for credit cards, apply for work, apply for a place to live, and other exploitative crimes. Attackers can gather PII from anywhere, including public forums and social media. Every type of organization, businesses, clinics, and even schools has PII that needs to be protected. Security breaches that involve this information put anyone's confidentiality in jeopardy and are becoming more common, especially among children. On average, more than 1 million children under the age of 18 in the United States report identity theft in a given year. When a school's information is breached, it can take years for a family to notice their child's information has been compromised. What can organizations do to prevent personal data breaches? Key factors include undergoing dark web scans to identify threats or weak points, ensuring staff is updated on security practices and training, and teaching good digital citizenship. Additionally, staff should continue to be wary of links and attachments in emails, utilize multi-factor authentication when creating new online accounts, and report any suspicious emails to your IT department.
Okay. So okay, I know that echoes a lot if if I talk with screen sharing on. Okay. So here's how to, okay, here's another kind of audience interaction. So what would you be willing to share? So I have some situations listed on the left, and I want to see what you would be willing to share to these organizations or companies. So let's start with an online shopping website. It'll take a while, so I'll just wait. Mhm. Yeah. So just list on the side. So there's like social security number, full legal name, birthday, address, what you'd be willing to share to these. So at least for the first one, let's go online shopping website. Okay, so I know for me, online shopping website, uh, yeah, so let's see this. Let me see. Okay, Raphael sent the message first. So I share personal info with the library, the college, and the credit card company. Yeah, definitely. I think there's like different levels to it. So an online shop, you would definitely need to give some kind of risky PII for them to be able to deliver stuff to your house. But stuff like maybe your social security card and your one or more photos of yourself, I don't think that'd be necessary. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. I think a lot of these, that's a good point that you bring up. If any of these applications, like I guess more not as reputable online websites ask you full out for maybe your bank account number, then that's kind of okay, chill. But if it's you voluntarily giving it to them, that's a little more trustworthy, but you should still be kind of wary about the legitimacy of the website. So let's see, payee's answer. DEKL. So your address, your phone number, your first name, and a fake birthday. Yeah, I'd say that was reasonable. And I think probably the credit card number. Yeah, one of your credit card numbers just for the transaction to go through. But yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. A fake birthday is pretty good because you don't need a fake birthday for an online, like if you want to shop, but most shopping websites expect that of you. Yeah. What about Washington County Library System? It's a more local organization, so that might change your opinions on things. Yeah, email address would be good. Yeah, I think with more local shops or at least brick and mortar places that I can visit, I'm like a lot more trustworthy of them because I'm like, okay, I see you, I know the people in there. Yeah. But if it's like some random online shop that has kind of bad design, it's not trustworthy, it's like a no certificate, then I'd be like, okay, wait. Yeah, so this a lot of the times if you see, okay, this is not a good example right now. Shush. Okay, Pay just dropped all the answers in the chat. Yeah, gaming websites. So college would be okay, legal name, birthday, cell phone, G, email address, I, allergies or medications, yeah. J, maybe if they require it, yeah. And V, your GPA. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable, I feel like. Yeah, I feel like those are some of the more precious pieces of information about yourself. So I think you would definitely want a college to, you would definitely trust a college way more than maybe kind of some random online class that you can sign up for, but it's like the website is really shady and you don't really see a lot of reviews. But if it's a I think a college that there's proof and it's really legitimate, I think that's a good idea. DMV, I see a lot of letters. A, social security number. B, full legal name, birthday, address, cell phone, personal email address, and then driver's license. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I don't think definitely no like fake names or fake birthdays or fake like anything, because this is official from the DMV. I think yeah, I'd hand over pretty much anything to the DMV if it was like reasonable. But yeah. Credit card company would be BCEPQ. So full legal name, birthday, cell phone number, bank account number, and one of your credit card numbers. Okay, yeah. I think this is kind of similar to the DMV where it's more you want this to be official, so you're just going to send all the official information, but some of these are really just kind of not necessary, like a social security number. I don't think you really need that to make a new credit card. And a gaming website, I'll fake birthday and email address used for junk, and yeah, everything fake would just be a good idea. I think this might be just me, but a lot of the times I just use my I have like a I guess my main email and then my school email, right? I don't really have a junk email, but because I usually just tend not to sign up for more shady things. But if I do have something that maybe I have to sign up for to use a service, then I'll just put it on my school account. I don't know if I think that's just a habit that I personally picked up, but I don't recommend it or anything. Okay, so why is PII important for malware? Okay, wait, I can't. Oh yeah, so like a pirating website. Yeah, so definitely, and even the pirating, if you've ever seen the websites, like it's always some random address like 123movies 123games.com, and then it has like a lot of like pop-ups maybe. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, ad blocker. And I don't know if you can see what browser I'm using, but I'm using Opera. So I'm not like endorsing Opera or anything, but it has like a built-in ad block and built-in pop-up kind of blocker. So yeah, I think that's why I mainly switched to Opera. Yeah, it's just a preference. I think Firefox also has ad block and pop-up blocker. Yeah. Okay. And hold on. Let me try to do something. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so why is PII so important for malware? So you're gonna see that PII is mostly leverage that malicious actors have over the individual facing the malware, making it more easy to be exploited. So they can, the people that obtain your PII through malware can maybe sell your information for money. Like I think we watched the video before that you can sell information for money either to companies like maybe Microsoft or Google, which they already know a lot about you, for advertising, or your information on the black market, maybe for the like relating to the second bullet point, so they can impersonate you. And you don't want anyone impersonating you if it deals with like maybe credit card stuff or your address or anything, right? Since it's kind of blackmail, you don't want other people to like spread this information, your private information, kind of just around willy-nilly. It'll definitely be more of a motivating factor to get to do what the people that have your PII want than maybe some other random reason. But yeah, that's why PII is so important to protect. So you can see that even your pictures of your face can be considered PII, because it's just it's just unique. Your face is unique to you. And biometric identifiers, I think especially with Apple, oh, I see a couple things in the chat. Yeah, of course. I think they not only use the dark web. This is just like me speculating with you. Yeah, but it's a lot of undercover like coups. I don't know if that's the right word, because I'm sure it's not. But yeah, they try to bust illegal operations just by making it seem legit, which is kind of what malicious actors on the internet do, which they make a spoofed website of maybe Twitter, and then that's how they get your information. If you log in through a spoof version of Twitter thinking it's the actual Twitter, then obviously then the hackers or malicious actors will have your information. Yeah. So there's a very thin line between using these kind of techniques for justice and using them for, I guess, selfish reasons. A lot of the times they use the same tools, just different intentions. Yeah. I think with biometric identifiers, especially with what is it, Face ID and Touch ID. I think those are the two big ones that came up within the past decade or so that Apple has innovated. It's definitely been a lot more risky to get your PII leaked, because what if it includes your fingerprint, right? And that's something totally specific to you. You can have a doppelganger, but only your fingerprint is unique. Yeah. Even stuff that doesn't really seem kind of really impactful, like your birthday, it'll still be kind of, you still would rather not have that online, because it's just another factor to find out who you are or who your true identity is. So here is to protect against malware, and this is just individual, like on an individual note. It's not on like a company-wide basis. So use an anti-malware app is our number one reason. Although your best anti-malware app is just using your common sense, not to download or touch risky or shady stuff, it'll still installing an anti-malware app and keeping it really up to date can help really defend your PC against viruses you may not know about, or maybe bloatware or any of that. Windows Defender, if you're using Windows, Microsoft Defenders is really free anti-malware software included with Windows, and it's really kept up to date automatically through your Windows updates. And there's also other anti-malware products by other companies, but the one thing to remember is that more isn't always better. So if you run a lot of these anti-malware apps, then it can cause your system to be slow or unstable. If you install an anti-malware app from a different company, Microsoft Defender would automatically turn itself off. So if you install 2 anti-malware apps from other companies, they might both try to run at the same time, just causing your system to be way more slow, and it might not be even effective. And once again, the best anti-malware is just common sense. Yeah, Windows Defender really covers a lot of bases. Be careful of links sent in emails. I feel like this is a really kind of common warning, but it's just kind of important because the biggest error in malware is probably human, because machines have like systems and processes that they keep up to date, but human errors is always a risk. So don't open any email messages from unfamiliar senders or email attachments that you don't recognize. A lot of viruses are attached to email messages and will spread as soon as you open the attachment. Even if it looks completely safe, it'll be the malware will spread out without you knowing. It's probably best not to open any attachment unless it's something that you're expecting. Using a pop-up blocker with your internet browser. So like we've said before, a lot of internet browsers come with pop-up and ad blockers. I think Chrome is the main one that you can get it. It's just through a third party. Yeah, you block origin. And I think if you're in BSD, like Beaverton School District, then that's also the one that they use for their Chromebooks. So, and I remember when I used Chrome, that uBlock was the one that I would use most. So pop-up windows are small browser windows that appear on the top of the website you're viewing, or they can just be anywhere, honestly. So maybe there's one to the side, maybe there's one stretching across the screen. Even though most are made by advertisers trying to sell you their product, they can also contain malicious or unsafe code. So a pop-up blocker can prevent some or all of these windows from appearing. The pop-up blocker, okay. I think it's just more convenience and just being safe. It's not gonna like disable any malware that you have already, but it's just a precaution in the future to take, so that your risk is really lessened of accidentally clicking something that might contain malware. So keep your operating system updated, as well as any programs that you might have, because like we said before, security is not a one and done thing, right? It's a constant set of actions that you must keep on doing and you must stay up to date on, because the longer an OS is out or the longer a program is out, then the easier it is to find flaws with it. So keeping it always up to date covers these flaws and just keeps it, think of it as cat and mouse, where the cat is always kind of catching up to you, right? But as long as you keep running and keep staying at the head of your game, with security, then your likelihood of getting malware is really severely lessened. So know what personal and sensitive information is stored on your systems and who has access to it. So this is kind of a, I might have to share my whole screen for this. Hold on. I'll show an example, real life example. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but if you go to maybe control panel, right? Some of this could be like user permissions. So sensitive information can be on different levels. Like if you only want yourself to access this file, then you can set the permissions to that, right? But maybe you want it to be admins only, and then you can just, you should be aware of how to change account. So usually if it was a family computer, this is just my own computer, so it's only me on here. So I'm the only administrator. But if there was other accounts, and then maybe if you don't want your little brother getting into your stuff, as an example, you can just deactivate him from administrator power, and then he has significantly less power over your computer. And then it's kind of like that with malicious actors too. So if you know that, oh, this file contains maybe my recent bank statements that I have to turn in later, but I just have to keep it somewhere safe for now. You really have to be aware that this is on your computer and set the permissions for that. Otherwise, if you accidentally get infected with malware and you forget that this is on your computer, forget to delete it, then that's free reign that the malicious actor has over that piece of information. So physical security is also the best kind of practice. We talk a lot about wireless security, but physical security is also good. I think in my high school, there's a cybersecurity class, and the first lesson, it was you walk away from your computer once, and then all of a sudden you can't get your computer to wake back up again. As I said before, human error is the most error that's made during cybersecurity, or if you want to keep your machine clean and safe. So physical security, maybe like keeping your devices separate from everyone else, or always knowing where they are, is also really good. Even especially in public spaces, if you have your laptop out, even if you're gonna go away for like 5 seconds, you still want to shut it off, because taking that risk is kind of really big. Especially if you're using public Wi-Fi, like Starbucks Wi-Fi, is really insecure, and a lot of worms, as mentioned before, can spread through that. So identify the computers or servers where the sensitive information is stored. So this is kind of more vague, but it's basically the idea of, oh, I have this account online. Maybe my bank information is on Bank of America's servers, right? You just want to be knowledgeable. Oh, if you hear that Bank of America has had a security breach, then you have to be like, oh, I better change my password, or I better change some of the information on that account so that the information that was found in the data breach is not accessible or usable. It's kind of that general, yeah, I've also heard of this website. So I'm not going to answer my email or phone, because then you'll see all the applications that I've signed up for, and I don't want you guys knowing that. So, but yeah, this is a good website just to go on yourself. That's a really good website actually. And then just to check if any data breaches have occurred on the websites that you're talking about, or that you use, that you don't want to get out anywhere, and just change those passwords, maybe change your information that's inside it. So encrypt sensitive information at rest and in transit. So what does that mean? Think of sending files to other people as kind of a mail system, right? You send it through your IP router, you send it through all of these gates, but through that, you want your information to be protected. So you don't want your parcel of information to be intercepted by anyone else, right? A popular form of this might be two-way encryption. I forgot the exact name, but I don't think we're going to get into it now. But there's a lot of different ways of encryption. And at rest and in transit just means when you're not using it, right? When you're actively just putting it to the side instead of actively looking at it. Yeah, SSH. Yeah, so maybe if you're just like, okay, well, oh, I'll just okay, I'll just put that there. This is like just a project I had to do, but if this actually did contain really sensitive information and someone so happened to log onto my account or get onto my computer, then they would have a hard time decrypting it. And especially in transit is when it goes through kind of a lot of possibilities that it could be intercepted. You just want to make sure it's encrypted at all times. Okay, I forget what number this is, but the next one is implement firewalls. So I'm sure you've all heard of a firewall before, especially for, okay, the only reason why it says that it's not like open is because I have a different program. So I promise I have my firewall on. Okay, this is not the real me. But yeah, so implementing firewalls basically just, I'm sure you've heard of like the firewall that surrounds China that blocks Google, Facebook, all of that stuff. And that's the first way that I ever heard about what a firewall is, just something that blocks websites, but it's actually really useful as a kind of layer of security that you don't really have to worry about that much. So if you turn it on, you know that any signals that the firewall deems is suspicious, it'll block, right? And it's kind of more of an automatic thing that you don't really have to worry about. And then consider applying network segmentation. So let's skip that one. I feel like it's, yeah. Okay. Okay. Ensure cyber incident response and communications plans include response and notification procedures for data breach incidents. So what does that mean? This is more of a focus on individual cybersecurity, so cyber incident response and communication plans. That first part just means what you want to do in case of a breach, right? So, you find out, my information is leaked here, or maybe this website leaked my information to these sources or these malicious actors. You have to make sure your response to that includes notification procedures for data breach incidents. So I guess you want to, it's more of the website again. You just want to make sure you regularly check websites like these to make sure, has my information been breached? I think it's just a notification procedures for data breach incidents just refers to that, where you're notified, or maybe you get direct notification from any data breaches that you might be in. And then, okay, that's all for the presentation, but I have a Kahoot, which, okay, give me 1 second to pull that up. Okay, wait. So before we do the Kahoot, I'm willing to take like any questions that you might have. I'm here to answer questions, so don't be shy.
Do you know how to like remove like viruses off if you have it on your
Okay,
computer? It's not like preventing it before, like preventing it when you have it, preventing it from doing further damage.
wait, that's actually a really good question. So, here, let me go back. Oh, I forgot to show you guys this one website. I'll show you guys after. But there's two main ways that are the easiest. I feel like first is File Explorer. There's a lot of times going to be a program. You have to make sure that you're deleting the actual program, not just a shortcut, right? So maybe if you see this little arrow, that means it's a shortcut and it's not the original file. So you want to find one of the original files, like maybe it's this one, right? I don't want League of Legends on my computer, right? So you can just move it. I guess for this one, it wouldn't really work. It's more of if you want to, let's see like a specific file. Maybe I don't want, pretend this is like a piece of malware, right? You can just, here, delete. And it moves it to your trash bin. That's where more, I guess, easier programs to remove. You can see that I really deleted the original copy. You have to make sure, because it's kind of tricky sometimes where you don't delete the original copy of the piece of malware. But you can also go into Control Panel and then pull up your programs. And usually, programs will kind of malware will also run here, where it's kind of a real kind of program that the computer recognizes, but just doesn't recognize it as malicious. So it'll just go search through it, and then maybe if you find one, like maybe League of Legends, I don't want League of Legends on a computer, so you can just go ahead and hit uninstall. But I think there's since malware is so kind of a wide topic, it's kind of hard to cover all the ways, but those are the two most useful ways. And I think it'll solve like about 60-80% of your malware problems, if not more. I think I used to have a MacBook and it was a slightly different way, but it also included going to your kind of control panel. I don't know what the Apple version of that is, and going to your programs and features and deleting it. Okay, so the website I forgot to show you is this one. So I think this is a pretty common gimmick for sites like these, where there's a lot of sites like these, but you just see live cyber threats. So this could be malware, this could be maybe cyber warfare, but it just kind of gives you a scope of really live what's going on. Yeah, and there are other websites like this, but I think this one's just the one that I chose out for today. And it's kind of just interesting to see how these go through, and you can kind of see the scale of how much cyber attacks really happen. Okay, let's.
Oh, I have a question. Do you think the built-in firewall from Windows is any good, or would it be better to install some sort of third-party software?
I would say if you really trust that software, you should go ahead. But here's my honest opinion, right? This is not like professional, but I think Windows Firewall does what it does. It's just your basic firewall for the US. I think there's some there might be some firewall kind of common things that all firewall have. If you really trust the third-party firewall, you can get it, right? But
Yeah.
as I said before, it's just kind of the main thing is just human error. So I feel like you don't really need a third party firewall if you have this and you're also careful with it what you click. And that goes the
Okay,
same
makes
for for most other things.
Yeah. All right.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, it's really picking up. Okay. Hold on. Let me pull up the Kahoot. I think, oh, I'm having some trouble with my Kahoot, bro. Okay. This should work. Yeah, but there's not really a lot in malware attacks. I mean, there is a lot in malware attacks that you need to learn, but I think the basic information for day-to-day use is kind of really okay. Hold on. Okay, great. So I've never hosted Kahoot before, so this is gonna be my first time. I don't think sharing sound is a good idea, so here. Okay, I assume everyone's played Kahoot before, right? If not, I can just explain the rules. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I think everyone has. Okay, let's have it for like 1 more minute and then we'll start. Okay, I think we should start now. I think it's good. Okay, malware. Okay, I better have taught you guys well. You guys better not disappoint me. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna assume the blue was a misclick because I believe in you guys. But yeah, freeware, adware, I think I forgot to mention, so that's kind of on me. But yeah, freeware is definitely not a thing that happens. Sure, okay, let's go. Okay, yeah, worm. Everyone got that right. Let's go. Yeah, so worm is the one that is spreads through networks mostly and makes copies of itself and doesn't rely on human error. Sheesh. Okay, this one is okay, I'll explain after the answer. Yeah, so most people got that. I think during this presentation, the one big thing that I didn't really talk that much about was Trojan software, but this is a pretty good definition. It just hides in legitimate, useful looking software like the Trojan horse from Greece. I guess this one contains like you have to have like a little more background information on what antivirus software is in the market. Woo! Okay. Norton is, I think, is that the one with the yellow check mark? Okay, hold on. I just want to see their logo. Yeah, it's that yellow check mark. And then AVG, okay, I would have also assumed it was AVG, but it was Avant. Okay, let's go. Yeah. So how does a firewall work? Okay, I didn't really go into this in the presentation, but I feel like my answer to Raphael's question, yeah. So it just filters internet data. It doesn't really like stop cybercrime at its roots or anything, but it's just a layer of protection specifically designed for like the user. Shoosh. Okay, I feel like, okay, a lot of these questions, this is just some like one that I found online. So a lot of these questions don't apply to our lesson today, but I think it should be so just user inferring skills for this one. Yeah, so time bomb is obviously based on time, right? So it's kind of just warning a certain user like, oh, you have until this day or this time to do stuff. Okay, this one's also, I feel like I should have chosen a better Kahoot, but it's okay. I'll just explain the answer afterwards. Yeah, cat flap. These are all kind of like silly names. But yeah, so types of malware I feel like I should have gone more into because I went through mostly umbrella terms, but it's just something to keep in mind that backdoor, ransomware, I think ransomware we talked about, backdoor I mentioned once, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and then rootkit. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Internet Explorer. I think uh Internet Explorer is definitely not known for its innovation in the browser field, but yeah, so I think this one is also kind of a large part just guessing, but I don't know. It's okay. 9 out of 10. I also misread that bottom left one, bottom right one. It's okay. It's all okay. So yeah, some malware can switch off a firewall. Like as you can see, my firewall, even my antivirus switches it off and does its own thing, right? So I'm thinking of uninstalling this antivirus, honestly. But yeah, if this antivirus can do it, definitely other malware. Okay, yeah, audio jacks only transfer sound, but I think all of these other ones, I think we mentioned email attachments, networks for worms, internet. Yeah. Ooh, let's see the podium. Okay, Gianna. Okay. Shush. Okay. Let's go. GG's in chat, everyone. Okay. So if there's not any more questions, I think that is the end of our session today. Oh, let me copy and paste.
I would like to thank everybody for coming. Before you leave, I would like to send a post-session survey in the chat. So if you have time, please check out the survey and fill out your feedback. Again, thank you to everybody who came here today.
All right, thank you, everyone. And if, okay, does anyone else have any last minute questions? Okay, I assume not. So thank you, everyone, for attending today's session.
Another thing to note, there will also be 4 more sessions after this. They will be the succeeding 2 weeks on Tuesday and Thursday on the same time. So next week Tuesday, next week Thursday, next week Tuesday, and next week Thursday.
And you have to make sure you also fill out